Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this. It's the first ever edition of Combat Sports News right here on the KocoSports.net YouTube channel. That's KocoSports.net, that's KocoSports.net, where the world goes to kick ass for combat sports, and above all, it's okay to be a passionate fan. I am your host for this semi-daily show, whatever we're going to call it here, Combat Sports News. New to the channel, basically what's going to happen is once a day, probably 5 to 6 days a week, I'll be doing combat sports news, going to cover the news of mixed martial arts, boxing, and of course, professional wrestling. Basically, the way the format of this show is going to go, I'm going to read some news. That's up on KocoSports.net. Everyone go check that out. Brilliant site. Proud to be part of it. As well as give a result / a mini review of a show. Today I've watched the DDT Special show that aired on the DDT Universe this morning. So I'm going to give results and recommendations for that, as well as my moment of that show, as well as my breakout stars / wrestlers of that show. That's how this one's going to work. Obviously, when it's WWE pay-per-views, when it's Raw, SmackDown, or whatever, I'll do that. But at least once a day, you'll get a show breakdown. And obviously on UFC Fight Nights, UFC pay-per-views will be the same then, as well as boxing. Big pro wrestling heavy show. So going to start off covering some boxing and then move on to mixed martial arts, then move on to pro wrestling, because that's going to be the bulk of the show. So if you're a fan of wrestling, definitely going to enjoy this one, because lots of news has happened over this past weekend. I was planning on doing one yesterday, however, I just crashed. I have no idea why. I just absolutely crashed. So let's get to boxing. So according to Sky Sports Boxing, they had an interview with Eddie Hearn, sorry. They are now offering Deontay Wilder, if he beats Tyson Fury on the obviously upcoming fight on December the 1st, he is going to be offered a big fight with Anthony Joshua. And apparently they're going to be doing 2 fights, one in the Staples Center in LA, obviously, and the other one in the UK somewhere, probably O2 Arena. But that is big money boxing. Anthony Joshua, obviously a megastar over here in the UK. That'll just be an absolutely massive fight, but very interesting. We're going to have coverage of the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder coverage for the WBC heavyweight title. And that's obviously to unify, to make a truly undisputed heavyweight champion in the boxing industry. So if you're a fan of boxing, please, we'll keep you updated every day on Combat Sports News of any developments that happen. But if you want to go watch the actual legitimate video, it's available on Sky Sports Boxing. And obviously Sky Sports is the UK provider of sports. So it's definitely a reliable source. And it's him, Eddie Hearn himself saying as well, so it's not some Joe Schmo. But that's some news for the boxing. Quite a not a dull weekend for news for boxing, but that's kind of the main thing that's been going around. And apart from that, I watched a knockout before we get to mixed martial arts. I'm watching this multi-fight, and a fighter kicked in one motion, knocked out the opponent, and the referee stepped. And boom, he pelted him on the nose. I'll retweet on my Twitter. Follow me at LK Wrestling, and you can check it out. It was absolutely sickening to watch. So that's the boxing. So I want to kind of get to the wrestling, because there's so much to cover, and I'm trying to keep it at a 15 to 20 minute kind of time limit, should we say? Because I don't want to go on here for 5 hours, like you guys know I damn well could. Let's get to the wrestling then. Mixed martial arts. So Tito Ortiz has announced his retirement from mixed martial arts, which is a shame, but he's going out on a high. He's on a big winning streak. He hasn't lost a fight in 3 years, which is absolutely insane. He's been fighting regularly, actually. But today in a press conference, he did announce his retirement. He talked about giving back to the mixed martial arts industry, which I think is a great thing. And I think that's what's great about combat sports is, you go through, you pay your dues, you work way up, you make your money, you do your big time fighting, and then you kind of pay back. And I think that's one thing I absolutely admire the most about combat sports. And obviously he did that. Yet he won the fight against, who did he fight? He fought Chuck Liddell in the Golden Boy MMA. It's their 3rd fight. He won in by first round knockout, and that was on the main event of the Golden Boy MMA fight. And I've got a direct quote here. From Tito Ortiz. He says, and this is a direct quote, I'm not saying this is what he said, this is a direct quote. He says, "I'm done. There's nobody left I want to fight. I just wanted to continue to help the sports grow as a promoter. I want to help give back to the fighter." And obviously he's fought them all. I remember watching a fight with him versus Ken Shamrock. I remember, because I've been a fan of MMA for about a year plus now, and I've kind of gone back and kind of watched some of the big fights. And you know what, Chuck Liddell, again, I'm not biased towards anyone, because I'm watching this purely as a trying to give news and report. I did place a cheeky bet on Chuck Liddell to win, so I was a bit wouldn't say bummed. I was like, first round knockout as well was pretty harsh, but it was a fun fight for what it was. Good build up. But he has won 4 of his last 5 fights. So it's kind of a good way to go. He's going on a high. He isn't going down as kind of a guy who had his prime and then kind of dipped and started losing lots of fights. And that's brutal. And while we're on MMA, I want to give a recommendation for a fight that I watched about a week plus ago on the UFC Fight Night, the 25th anniversary show between the Korean Zombie and Yair Rodriguez. It went full 5 rounds and was just an absolute belter. So if anyone wants to watch a really good fight, they're not the biggest guys, but they're quick. And Yair Rodriguez, the way he moves and the acrobatic stuff he does is absolutely crazy. So if you guys want to watch a really good fight and you're not familiar with MMA, you're trying to get into it, that's a really good fight that I recommend you guys to watch. 25 minutes of 2 guys beating the living crap out of each other for MMA, and the way that the bout finished with Rodriguez hitting literally this back elbow went bam right on the back elbow, literally as he went down, was one of the best knockouts I've seen. And when they do a top 10 compilation on YouTube or Twitter, however they do it, that's got to be up there with the top 10 knockouts in UFC history, because it was absolutely brilliant. It really, really was absolutely amazing. But yeah, obviously congrats to Ortiz on the fight win, and congrats to retirement. Hopefully he has a happy retirement. He's given a lot to the sport. I remember him also fighting Wanderlei Silva, which was a absolutely brilliant fight as well. So just go out of your way to check it out, and mad props to Tito Ortiz. Let's get to some New Japan. If you guys don't know, I'm a major fan of Puresso, Japanese pro wrestling. That's kind of what I watch the most, obviously with work and friendship and gym and training and girlfriend. You got to kind of pick your shows. And I spoke to Dave off air. He was the same. He's like, you really got to be kind of a wrestling snob. You want to pick what you want to watch, when you want to watch. You got to kind of dedicate a specific amount of time to that. And you guys know that. Obviously, you guys, you have jobs, families, friends, girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, whatever you got, and you kind of like, okay, what am I going to watch? So I try and watch everything. Very unsuccessful at that. But I watch as much as I can, especially when I'm trying to watch as much boxing, MMA as well. So it's kind of like I don't sleep, but there's not much I learned from Vince. One thing I learned about listening to him was you sleep when you die. That was one of the main things I've learned. I've always kind of stuck by that mantra. But the results from the show that took place today on the 25th, I'll give you results, and I'll give you the updated standings. And at the same time, I would give you guys results for the All Japan Pro Wrestling Tag League. However, I'm playing a bit of catch up. I'm 2 shows behind, and I don't want to read results because then it'll spoil it for me in a non-selfish way. So when I'm fully caught up, I'll give you a full breakdown. But guys, All Japan have had a great year. Absolute belter of a year. Kento Miyahara is going to be an absolute megastar. He's the ace of the promotion, and he's absolutely brilliant. I can't recommend you guys to watch him enough. If you want to watch a match from the Champions Carnival this year, watch him versus Naimachi Marufuji, because that was just breathtakingly brilliant. So these are the results from the show that took place in Aichi Prefectural Gymnasium for the World Tag League, available on New Japan World. So we had Hangman Page, Yujiro Takahashi defeat Ayato Yoshida and Shota Umino. Tomohiro Ishii and Toriano defeating Yuji Nagata and Manabu Nakanishi. Elgin and Cobb defeating Tenzon and Kojima. Juice Robinson and David Finney picking up a win against Makabe and Hanare. Non-tournament match, we had Okada, Sho and Yo defeating Shingo Takagi, Bushi, and Naito. Takagi's had a great year as well. I just want to say his move to New Japan didn't catch me off guard. I remember at the time when he left Dragon Gate, I remember watching his final match against BB Hulk. It's a great match. I recommend you guys watch that. That was a really good match, actually, on Dragon Gate Network. And then he kind of had, I was like, okay, I was thinking maybe he was going to do what kind of Simmer's done and go to an El Lindemann, go to Wrestle One, do All Japan, DDT, kind of do the kind of the indies, because I wouldn't classify them as indies because they're really, really not. Most of them are owned by big, like All Japan and, Noah and DDT. They're owned by big companies, not All Japan. But it's kind of like they're not indies, but they're not at that New Japan level. So I was expecting him to do that, and he didn't. He signed with New Japan. He's part of the Los Ingobernables group, and he's done a really good job. And I was worried, will he fit? Will the dynamic of the group still be the same? Obviously, Hiromu's out with the injury. And I'm not going to report on that because there's lots of different mixed. Some are saying he's going to wrestle again. Some saying he's not. Some saying he's going to come back. Some saying he's not. So I don't want to comment on it unless there's factual, unless it comes out of his mouth. I'm not going to report on it. But yeah, he's done really well. And it was him, Bushi, and Naito. That was presumably a good fight. And then we had Tamatonga Tongaloa defeating Minoru Suzuki and Takashi Iizuka. Killer Elite Squad defeat Trent Barrett and Chucky T, and Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi defeating Evil and Sanada in the main event of the show. And the standings now, I'll read you from top to bottom. So on 6 points, you have Best Friends, LIJ, Gorillas of Destiny, Killer Elite Squad, Chaos, and Finley and Juice, and the Elite, which is Hangman Page and Yujiro Takahashi. On 4 points, you have Tenzon and Kojima and Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. On 2 points, we have Nakanishi and Nagata, Hanare Makabe, and Suzuki and Lizuka and Cobb and Elgin. On 0 points, Ayato Yoshida and Shota Yamino on 0 points. Obviously, young lions. Well, Yoshida, he wrestled in K Dojo, but came over and kind of established himself as a young lion, but he's kind of not. Really interesting dynamic. And that's the thing. I love the way how some of these guys are going off for excursions, some are not. Like David Finlay didn't go, Juice Robinson didn't go, Hanari didn't go, but then, Sho and Yo went, JY went, Jay White went. So it's really interesting, the dynamic of who and where they go. And I think that's brilliant how they're not even always sending them. They're kind of establishing them as stars in the promotion and kind of running with them, which I think is an interesting way of doing it, I must say. We'll get into the Starrcade results. I know the W Network aired a 1 hour version of this on their network. Please put in the comments if there's anything worth watching on that. And if there is, I'll definitely go back. And that's the point about this. If you guys have a match recommendation from a promotion, please feel free to send it to me. And I'll give it a watch. I'm all up for, listening to what you guys, have to say and your opinions. And I will eventually be giving a specific time for this show as well, I want to point. And I'm going to have intros and outros, and it's going to be a really cool format. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be doing here. And then, so we'll go to Starrcade, which actually took place yesterday. I'll read the results, the full results from that show, not the W Network version, which is a really trimmed down version. I think they had the AJ and Joe match in the cage, and the Miz TV segment, as well as a Ric Flair segment and an 8-woman tag. So Sasha Banks, Bayley, Dana Brooke, and Ember Moon defeated Nia Jax, Tamina, Alicia Fox, and Mickie James. Drew McIntyre defeated Finn Balor, and that's a program which has been going on for a while on Monday Night Raw, and I've been enjoying the heck out of Drew McIntyre recently. Him and Ziggler, big fan, and Balor obviously going to be just a star. The B team defeated the Revival. The SmackDown Tag Titles Online as the Bar defeated the New Day. Bray Wyatt defeated Baron Corbin twice. He was rolled up by Wyatt, restarted the match, and then beat Drew McIntyre again. Charlotte defeated Asuka. Mysterio and Rusev defeated The Miz and Nakamura. Styles defeated Joe, and Rollins defeated Ambrose. Both those matches inside a steel cage. That's interesting when they did AJ and Joe inside the cage. I hope that made tape. I think that was the one that made tape. I may give that a watch and give you guys my opinions on it tomorrow on Combat Sports News. Give again down below your thoughts on the match if you've seen it, and if it's worth checking out. But there are the results from the Starrcade. Whilst we talk about WWE, we'll talk about the announcement of NXT UK having their takeover. It'll be NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, going from Blackpool, taking place on January the 12th, and then on the 13th there will be their aftermath shows. So they're kind of the tapings for the next NXT UK weekly shows. And I've been keeping up with the NXT UK shows. They've been a fun show. Great way to establish, young talent, UK talent. It's great for the UK scene, knowing that you can, work your way to the W and an easier route rather than, having to go to America. You can do it in the UK. Whilst they're doing that, you can take UK bookings. You can travel the world. Obviously, you can't go to, your New Japan. You can't obviously go to Ring of Honor or Impact or Lucha Underground, but you can still do the UK promotions like Progress and ICW. They got a working relationship with the WWE. So it's a great outlet for talent. They're getting great exposure. It's great for the UK scene. And obviously, you got, World of Sport airing on ITV, which is one of the top 4 channels in the whole of the UK. If you own a television set and you own a TV, you have ITV. That's how big the kind of bandwidth is of ITV. It's a really, really big deal, but that's taking place in the Empress Ballroom, which is where the NXT UK Championship tournament take place. Beautiful building, and I may go. It's a bit soon, but it's only 2 months. Well, it's under that. It's about a month and a half away, and Blackpool is a bit of a trek. I'll be looking at probably nearly 150, 200 pound trade wise. Then a hotel, and then coming back. It'll cost me an arm and a leg, but I may go because I remember I went to the NXT Takeover London back in December of 2015, and that was a great experience. I had Baylor versus Joe in the main event. That was a really, really good time, actually. I really recommend, I might go back and watch that before I go to bed tonight, because that was a really fun show. Back onto the Japanese wrestling. The Pro Wrestling Noah, they had their Global League tournament, which is the equivalent of the G1 Climax, which is aired all through November, started late October. And they had their finale show. If you want to avoid spoilers, skip about 2 minutes, because this show is going to air on G Plus on the 8th of December, right? That's the thing with Noah. They don't have a streaming service, so you kind of have to watch on G Plus on Nico Nico. Or the Real Hero Drive, or go to PressODream.wordpress.com. That's where I go to watch my Noah. And it's completely free, and it's legal, so I'm not promoting any legal site. They're just streaming it from the G Plus, so it's perfectly legal. But what happened is Marufuji won Block A. Okay, but he got injured. So then they decided to do a 3-way to win Block A between Keno, Kohei Sato, and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Now, if you're not familiar with Noah, I highly recommend to get into it. And that's the thing I'm going to say is about all these Japanese promotions, because so many promotions are on fire this year. New Japan, the globalization or globalization, whatever you want to call it, the expansion. That's fun. And then you got Noah, who's just killing it. All Japan is killing it. DDT killing it. Dragon Gate continuing to perform. Pac coming back, and Masato Yoshino against Pac coming up December 4th, I believe, on Dragon Gate. I'll have complete coverage of that. I'll do a preview and a results video of that, because that's going to be a belter. The subscription service I've got: Dragon Gate, New Japan, All Japan, DDT, and W Network. I'm just obsessed with Japanese wrestling as well. It's just brutal. But Katsuhiko Nakajima defeated Kano and Kohei Sato. I thought, again, Kano might have this, and then I thought we'd get a Kano final, and I was hoping we'd get Kano Segura 3, because the first 2 matches were just such bangers, but obviously he won it last year, so my expectations weren't for him to win. But either way, Nakajima won, and he advanced to the finals of this year's Global League. And then Kaito Kiyomiya defeated Katsuhiko Nakajima in under 20 minutes to win this year's Global League 2018 tournament. If you guys haven't checked out any of the tournament matches, please do so. Marufuji Nakajima was incredible. I think that's from about night 1 or 2. So many, and night 1, night 2, night 10 are already uploaded to go watch, and 3 to 9 didn't make tape. And that's the thing with Noah, And again, this isn't a knock on Noah. I think the promotion is made leaps and bounds, and the attendance for this show in the Kurokan Hall was 1,442 fans. The full house capacity is 1,700 something, so they're only 300 off from a sellout. So that's great for Noah. I remember watching them back in January of 2017. And it was half full. You're looking at 800 people-ish. That's at a push. So it's really great to see Noah, making that bounce back. Same as All Japan this year. They've had such a bounce back. And please, All Japan TV is great as well. So they're such a great tag league. So many great matches. I know I watched today. There was a match with Doring and Dylan James wrestling John Akiyama. And who did he wrestle? John Akiyama. My mind has literally just gone blank. He wrestled John Akiyama and Daisuke Sakamoto from Big Japan. And it was just a great stuff. Absolutely brilliant stuff. That's the style of wrestling I love, is the Noah All Japan style. Kotaro Suzuki also defended his GHC junior weight title against Tatsuki. And the GHC junior weight tag titles online as High 6'9", and Minoru Tanaka successfully defended against Hiroshi Yamato and Koji Kanemoto in a what presumably would have been a good match in 16 minutes each. Be very interested to see where they go with Kaito Kiyomiya against Takashi Segura for the GHC heavyweight title. I'm mega pumped for that. That'll be sometime in December. Can't remember the date specifically off the top of my head. I should have written it down. But it's going to be a belter. Segura's having one of the best GHC heavyweight title reigns that I've watched. His match with Kano, Nakajima, Go Segura. Just great title reign. I can't recommend Noah enough, guys. I'm being deadly serious. And then we have the DDT Special of 2018. It took place this morning at Kurikan Hall, attendance of 1,312. So solid show. And the Kurikan Hall, if you obviously watched it, if you watch New Japan at all, that's kind of one of their main buildings they do. What I love about them is they have, do you know where the screen is? There's then fans behind the screen, back up. Not all companies, I know Stardom and DDT do this. They put up a curtain, so those seats, which is about 200 seats, are unavailable. But doing that, realizing they're not going to sell it out, makes the building look full. It was give or take full. There was a few seats dotted here and there, but the show, for what it was worth, was very full, and it was a fun show this morning. I really enjoyed it. The opening match was a three-way with Toru Owashi defeating Antonio Honda and Seki Akai. If you guys enjoyed the comedy of DDT, you guys obviously know about Antonio Honda, and it was a typical Antonio Honda match. Seki Akai from Tokyo Joshi Pro, sister promotion of DDT. And then we had Damnation, which is Soma Takeo and Tetsuya Endo defeating Kaisuke Ishii and Yumehito Imanari in a fun match. It just went under 8 minutes. Takeo and Endo are great. I'm a huge fan of Damnation. I really am. I remember my first exposure was Takeo was in the All Japan Junior Battle of Glory, which is the equivalent of the Best of Super Juniors for All Japan, and he came over, and I was like, wow, this guy's great. Where does he work? He works DDT, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to DDT in the summer, and I definitely did. And it was really good match, solid match. Then we had Strong Hearts defeating Kazuchika Higuchi, Kudo and Shunma Katsumata. In 7 minutes. Strong Hearts are absolutely incredible. They're a promotion that are just wrestling everywhere. They wrestle for the Shanghai promotion, CWE mainly, which also airs on Dragon Gate. It's kind of a sister promotion. Well, they're not so it's a separate promotion, but they work together. And they also wrestle One. And the basic Strong Hearts is Desmond Xavier, Trey Miguel, Zachary Wentz, Simon L. Lindemann. Obviously, you may know Simmer, who used to wrestle for Dragon Gate. So does L. Lindemann, but they left. Lots of people leave in Dragon Gate, which sucks, but Pac came back, which is a bonus. Speaking of Pac, the Rev Pro announced early January, live at the Cockpit, Pac versus Zack Sabre Jr. If that's not a banger, I don't know what is. And that's in London, so I may go to that. But yeah, this was great. It's great watching Strong Hearts. The 6-man, the 8-man, 10-man tags, even the standard tags are just great. Xavier Miguel and Zachary Wentz worked really well together. Wentz did this absolutely gorgeous knee, which I watched, and I actually rewound it a few times because it was that great. I was like, how did he make it look that fucking spectacular? It really was great. Because Kazuchika Higuchi's great as well, absolutely great. He looks like he's been wrestling for a long time. He actually hasn't. It's only been a few years. So props to him. And then we had Jun Kasai defeating Mayo in a hardcore match. Jun Kasai, crazy monkey. The guy's a legend in the deathmatch. I remember I was not a fan of deathmatch wrestling until I watched the Jun Kasai match. It was in Freedoms, not in Big Japan. It was in Freedoms, and it was absolutely just brilliant. And this wasn't blood, guts, and gory. It was just great. There was a spot which I put as my moment of the night, which I'll get to in a bit, where I'll read that when we get to the moment of the night. But this is a really fun match. Weapons involved were a chair, a ladder, these sticks. You go pom pom on the top of the head, and they stick in your head, which is a really cool visual when Kasai's running and he's got sticks stuck in his head. That's really unique and different. As well as where did the finish come from? It was a brainbuster onto the ladder, and it wasn't the nicest bump in the world. I did feel for Mayo, but Mayo was, what a performance! What a young man! Absolutely brilliant, amazing. Then we had the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metal title. We had a Konosuke Takeshita defeating Mikey Ito by knockout. This was a great match. I'm such a fan of Konosuke Takeshita. Him and from All Japan Kento Miyahara are the future of the industry in Japan, without a shadow of a doubt. Ace of DDT for sure. He had a really good DDT KOD openweight title reign. His match with Ishikawa in February was absolutely brilliant. Excuse me, I went back and watched that one. That was a really great match. And Maki Ito is from Tokyo Joshi Pro as well, again, sister promotion of DDT. And that's the thing with DDT Universe. You don't only get DDT, you get Tokyo Joshi Pro, Pro Wrestling Basara, Gambari Pro. You get lots of promotions on DDT Universe. So again, that's a good sign up if you're interested. And it was really great. I love the dynamic of the bigger Takeshita against, she's a really small young woman. So it's really, really great dynamic, and really, really, they worked well together. It was a great story that they told. Makito and Dunshoku Dino went to a no contest. Dunshoku Dino was going to be comedy heavy, and it was that. Then Strong Hearts, Sim and El Lindemann defeated the Disaster Box, which is Hiroshima and Kazuki Hirata, in just over 14 minutes in a match that's going to be good with the talent involved. It's never going to be bad with these guys involved. El Lindemann, props to you, my friend. You're wrestling without knee pads, and you're doing some splashes off the top. I feel for you. And my knees cringed when I saw him do a superfly splash off the top with no knee pads on. I was like, you're a crazy, crazy man. You're a braver man than I am, sir. And that was absolutely brilliant. This was a fun match, and I just recommend you guys to check out some Strong Heart stuff, because I think you'll really enjoy it. And again, that's the purpose of this show. Not only am I going to give you news, but it's combat sports, so I kind of want to, promote things that not a lot of people may know about, or, they're like, I don't have time to watch all this stuff. Boom, pinpoint certain things. And speaking of pinpoint, I'm pinpointing this main event as my match of the night. KOD Openweight title, as well as the 1 million yen prize on the line. We have Daisuke Sasaki defeating Masahiro Takanashi in a belter of a match. 21 minutes it went. Absolute belter. The near fall in this one. Okay, so Takanashi hit the code red. I thought it was it. I was done. I was on my feet. I was like, come on. And it was the biggest kick out. And the story he told when Sasaki kicked out and he rolled to the floor, like as he kicked out, Takanashi going like that and the camera picking it up, I thought was a piece of just masterful storytelling. And he picked him back up in the ring, and then Sasaki got the win. Just absolutely brilliant match with a great cradle as well. Great cradle. And that's the thing. It looked legit. It was a cradle that it looked like you physically couldn't kick out of, which I thought was a really, really great touch. So, in analysis, again, if you guys want win, loss, or tie in the comments, if you have watched this show, but my 3 stars of the show, Mayo, okay? The fighting spirit he showed in the hardcore match with Jun Kasai. He's not a hardcore wrestler, but he's really adapted. I remember he did they do these once a year annual street fights in these camps, okay? And Mayo was a part of that as well with Mike Bailey. They are a team in DDT, and he wrestled really well. And it was a really solid match with Jun Kasai. He really did have a really good match, and it was just him pumping up. He kicked out one a few times, but when you do it right, you can do a kick out of one wrong and the crowd don't really bite, and it just doesn't feel right. It looks like he kicked out of one just to kick out at one, but when he kicked out, the crowd bit, and he sold it with his mannerisms and his facials, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant. So Mayo is one of my 3 stars of the show. Takeshita, the guy he can work with anyone, male, female, recycling bins, trash cans. He can work with anyone. This guy is incredible, and he's charismatic. He's talented. He looks great. You can tell he works out of the gym, putting in the effort, and just a great talent. You guys need to watch him. And my third one was Daisuke Sasaki. Solid title reign so far. Great first defense. Really enjoying his reign. When he challenged for the belt and won the belt, I wasn't expecting much. Not because I don't think he's a great wrestler. He's a great wrestler. It's just I wasn't expecting him to have a long, good title reign. He's not a long one, but it's a good, really good title reign. Like I'm really sinking into, and I'm seeing him not as this upper mid card guy now. I'm seeing him as a main event star, and I'm looking forward to seeing him wrestle Takeshita hopefully sometime down the line once Takeshita's finished up with the DDT Iron Man heavy metal title, which is the equivalent of the hardcore rules 24/7 gimmick. So they're my 3 stars of the show: Takeshita, Mayo, and Daisuke Sasaki, because he's earned it. My match of the show is the KOD Openweight title match, Masahiro Takanashi against Daisuke Sasaki. Recommend you guys check it out. It's not long, 22 minutes. Really recommend it. Can't recommend it enough. Really great stuff. Just the pacing was great. The near falls, like I literally stood up. So basically, I have my laptop here, which I took my notes on for this show, and I have my PC monitor. I have a 32-inch curve here, and I got my PC here. I was literally sat in this chair, stood up. I was like, that's it. We got a new DDT KOD Openweight champion. I was pumped for it, and great near fall. Sorry about that. I no longer live with my parents. I house share with one of my best mates, and he's just got a bit excited. I think he's playing FIFA. A match to show that's for that. My moment of the show, okay, was Jun Kasai superplexing Mayo off a ladder into plastic. You know, you get the plastic boxes. There was about 3 set up into plastic containers. Okay, and they exploded everywhere, and Mayo just popped up and got right in his face, and he's pumping up, and the crowd went mental. Mayo has mastered the art of pumping up. And I know that may sound really weird, but the way how he does it in his facials, you know, his jawline goes, it looks like he's legitimately furious and very angry, which is absolutely brilliant. So there we have it, guys. The first edition of the KocoSports Combat Sports News. Again, apologies, a bit rusty at the start, just getting the MMA, the boxing in, because it was a mega pro wrestling heavy show. Going forward, don't think it'd always be like that. Sometimes it could be an MMA heavy, could be boxing heavy, depending on what's happening on the news. But lots happening on the news this weekend for pro wrestling. Looking forward to coming back tomorrow. I'll come back just before Raw starts, so we might give a preview for Monday Night Raw, as well as I'll be watching. I don't know what I'll be watching, because I've got a busy day tomorrow, a really busy day, including a 10-hour shift at work, which is going to be fun. But I've got a lot going on tomorrow, but I'll try and figure something out. Maybe I'll stay up late tonight and stay up late. It's 3:52 right now. Stay up late, and I haven't even uploaded yet. But yeah, I may watch some Dragon Gate, possibly. I have no idea, but stick around, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, subscribe. KocoSports.net, that's KocoSports.net, where the world goes to kick out for combat sports, of course, and where it's okay to be a passionate fan. Please drop in the comments any thoughts, suggestions on this show. We're going to have intros, outros, as well as I'm going to get the format a bit more structured. So news, results, review, boom, take it home. So don't mind, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe, stay well. This has been LK from KocoSports, and I'll be catching your answers down the line.